Hey guys, JHoyt here. Before we get into this one, I just want to say thank you guys so much for all the support on the channel. Every single number is up, so I can't thank you guys enough for that. But for those who haven't hit the subscribe button yet, make sure to go down below because the vast majority of you guys are not subscribed. So make sure to go down there, hit that subscribe button, and turn on those post notifications so you never miss an upload. And don't forget, you can always change your mind later. What's on, guys? JHoyt back with you today. Welcome back to NHL 21. We have episode number 24 of our franchise mode with the Detroit Red Wings. Also, how'd you guys like that new intro? I've been wanting to change up my intro and outro. Spoiler alert, there's gonna be a new outro for you. I've been wanting to change them up for a little while now, and might stick with this one, might not, depending on it. Might change up the music a little bit. Who knows where that goes, but let me know that down in the comment section below. But last episode, if you weren't here, make sure to go back and watch. You guys have missed a lot of games. We had a very interesting start to the year where we weren't really doing too well, but then we went on a good streak, then we went on a bad streak, then we're on a good streak once again. So we have a couple players that are not too happy with us, so we're going to take care of that in this first part of this video. We're actually making a trade. So the trade is on your screen now, and actually I just realized you can't even see it, so let's move down to the bottom here. So this trade is gonna be Kaut, Tuch, and Steen over to Ottawa in exchange for McIntyre and Verhaeghe. Now here's the backstory of this trade, right? Tuch, we signed, was hoping he was gonna turn into a really good third liner for us. Never ended up happening, so kind of found himself kind of that fourth line role, and especially being this year, we're rolling three lines as our scheme with our coach, so he's not really getting a lot of play time. So his overall is decreased by a couple, and he's gonna be a pending UFA, and most likely we're not gonna re-sign him. So I'm gonna try to get something for him. Kaut, again, another player just not filling up to what we were kind of hoping to, kind of doing with what we're doing with the scheme, but he's going to be in this one. Plus, he's got another year at $2.5 million. And as a team that we're trying to, make sure we're staying healthy with the cap, that's going to help us out in this one. So we're also going to throw in a center prospect over to Ottawa in this one in exchange for a right wing. I'd call him a prospect, but he's really not. He's 20 years old, 80 overall already, former first round pick sniper. Now, yes, he's not really doing that great this year, but obviously he's got loads of potential. He's still got 3 years left on his contract, and he's a good young right winger. So also in this one, like I said, for Verhaeghe, he's like 79 overall, just kind of in here for numbers' sake, and he has like 0 trade value. So he's just kind of in there. So does this one go through? No. So we added in a third round draft pick and it ended up going through. We tried to get a couple of picks back, but we ended up throwing in a third rounder from this year. So we do have a couple of later picks. We could probably trade up into like a fifth if we really wanted to. But for now, let's go get those lines fixed, put him in the lineup, and then see how our team fares the rest of the year. Our second trade, which I wasn't planning on making until later on, but I actually found a really good deal as I was focusing on, trying to fix some of these, upset players' deals. So in this trade, we're going to be giving up Lindholm and Kreider, and both these guys are not happy, right? We signed Kreider with the intentions of putting him on our fourth line. He performed horribly in the preseason and then just hasn't really done too much for us. So he's upset. Lindholm, he's upset too, not really playing the best either, and I think it's just time we could just get rid of him, move on, and focus on some of the young guys, right? We have a lot of good young defensemen that are all wanting to make the jump, and unfortunately, he's just kind of there in the way. So we're actually getting another good young defenseman in Corrado here. Let's show you guys. He's a top 4 medium potential. He's actually not even playing this year for some reason for New Jersey. He's listed as a depth defenseman. He can play left and right defense. Former first round pick. Good skating. Good stats. Pretty much around the board. And he performed pretty good in the first 3 years in the AHL. So he's got 2 years remaining on his contract to weigh. And then also to kind of match this salary in this one, we're going to be getting Chris Letang. Obviously legendary Pittsburgh player. 40 years old though. 1 year left. $6 million. And it's going to help us on that third line where, you know, Glenn Cross has been playing okay, but he hasn't really been playing great. So I think maybe it's time to send him down to the AHL, get him a little bit more playing time down there, and let Letang rock and roll on that third line with whoever we decide to pair him with. So should be a pretty even trade here. Salaries match up pretty good, and it's actually a pretty fair trade for both sides. So does it go through? No, it doesn't. We add on a 6th and a 7th round pick, and I probably could have added a little bit less. But the trade ends up going through, and now it's time to fix the lines. So following both of our trades, this is how our team's going to look. Now, yes, it may look like we got a little bit worse, but we got better at the same time, right? We're fitting our scheme better, we're fitting our lines better, and overall it's going to help us out in the long run. So our top 6 remains the same. Our top 8, I guess, remains the same. We added McIntyre to that third line, and also Lindholm's probably going to end up being a trade at the trade deadline. Yes, he is performing, you know, okay for a third liner, but we're not going to be able to re-sign him next year. So, plus, we're going to make the most out of his trade value once it gets time to do that. But let's show you guys the rest of the lines here. So we ended up sending Norris down to that third line to make way for McIntyre. Norris wasn't really performing anyway. Then we actually brought up somebody from the AHL, Tag Bertuzzi. He was actually performing pretty good down in the AHL. So we decided to bring him up just due to numbers. And then we also have Schmaltz down there on that fourth line as well. So a little bit of a different looking forward group, and obviously we're going to have to change around the penalty kill and power play and everything just to fit these guys in. But so far, so good. Let's jump to the back end as the top 4, I believe, remain the same. Maybe I had Ekblad on the second line before. Not exactly sure, but Hannafin and Ekblad reunited, Wallander and Mann on that second line, and then down on that third line, we actually had another one of our young guys, not really so young anymore, but he actually was performing pretty well. He's been performing pretty well, just haven't had any room to bring him up. So he finally makes his, I believe it's going to be an NHL debut this year, along with Letang over on that right side. As well as in net, we have the same 2 goalies. Still going to have confidence in these guys, right? Dostal having a little bit of an off year. Reza still finding his footing here in the or in the NHL, I should say. And our team's looking great, right? AHL team's performing pretty well. Everyone's performing pretty well. If you look at some of the guys we have down here, by the way, we have a pretty good future, right? We got a really big lot of good young players, especially on our defensive side. I was thinking about bringing up this guy as well, but Corrado, right, we just acquired him, so he's down there. We have Griffith, I don't know why I said that so weird, but we have Warren down there, Gudis, who's another good young player, and then Glenn Cross is going back down, as well as in net, we have Zanetti, right, good young, is he still franchised? He's still franchised, he's performing really well, and then a good young goaltender as well, so a lot of good young guys, but we got to make it all worth it in the end and make it to the playoffs. Did I just say they were 28-1? Oh, 28-8-2. Oh boy. All right. So let's continue on here, right? We're going to have a couple of decisions to make once we get towards the trade deadline, and depending on how this team ends up going. But let's make this run to the trade deadline as good as possible. So we fixed some lines, and we actually end up offering a couple of guys extensions. Some guys we need to figure out what to do with as we continue on with the rest of the year. So you're probably going to see those guys pop up anytime now. Norris being one of them, Mann being the other one, and we need to get those guys. Zadina as well. So some guys we're going to have to pay attention to, some guys that are UFA, so we're definitely going to have to keep watch of how good those players do. And 3-game losing streak. That's not good. Shootout loss. Let's not keep losing, please, team, because any loss right now is detrimental to the rest of our year. Let's go take a look here, though. Let's wait for the standings to roll around. It should be the next one. I don't want to fall out too early here. Yeah, 43 points. We're basically chasing, top 4 at this point. But let's continue here. Hopefully that was just a fluke of games there. But, of course, we want to continue. Okay, so LA Kings, we get a win at. I mixed up all my words today. 21-24-3, though. It's not horrible. We get a win against Nashville, win against Edmonton. Okay, let's erase that slide. Let's get up to the trade deadline here. right? It's big for us. Let's continue these wins, right? All we want to do is make the playoffs, right? Anything can happen once we're in. We just jumped from 7th to 3rd within the span of a couple of games. This is exactly what we want to see. Tons of wins on the board. Have we lost yet this month? No, we haven't. Let's keep up the wins, boys. Overtime win there versus Florida. Win versus Boston. That's a huge win. Wow. Keep it going, boys. Keep this going. I lost versus Vegas, but still, though, that was a huge set of games. Huge. Let's look at the score, or not the scoreboard, the standings, though, in the bottom right, though. Right, we were sitting, what, like 7th place. Now we sit at 67 points. We do have a pretty good buffer on some of the teams there. But let's get these last couple of games done with before the trade deadline. Then we'll have to figure out what to do here. So here's where the trades are going to start coming in. So we're probably just going to have to review those. But we're going to simulate those games and then figure out what to do with some of these players. So after a long time trying to figure out a trade for Lindholm, this is what I would think to be the best trade possible. So when I went to find trade, when I looked around the entire league, some of them were like, okay, this is a really good trade, but it's probably not going to go through. Like, no matter what I do, trying to get, a good young centerman that could grow with us. Or we found trades that were like a first and a second and some random draft pick. There was also a trade that I was really interested in from the Islanders that was 2 first-round picks, this year's and next year's. But they're also I think they're in the other Eastern Division. So also it was a good trade from the Senators, but they're also in our division. So it was very difficult trying to figure out a trade, going back and forth from different teams, writing them all down, trying to figure out what to do. And this is the trade that we have, decided will probably be our best fit. Now, will it go through? I'm not exactly sure because I actually changed it just a hair. So what it is if you look at these draft picks. Now, what I really wanted from Boston was this year's first round pick. As you can tell, it has a ton of trade value, but unfortunately, I don't think we're going to get it unless we just go 1-for-1, Lindholm just for that pick. But what I decided on was this original trade was this first and second, along with some of the random prospects. The only thing that changed was the prospects. So I'm hoping that'll just go through straight on. So we get a really good second round pick this year, and if Boston doesn't do good next year as well, then we get a really good first round pick, hopefully. So whether we get 2 really good picks or 1 very good pick, it all depends on how they do, like I said, next year. So it doesn't look like Boston's going to the playoffs at all. So we don't have to worry about divisions or who we're playing or whatnot. It's just going to be getting those 2 draft picks. This young centerman will help as well, and it gets rid of Lindholm, and unfortunately we're going to have to try to fill in that spot, but of course that will be, later on here at the deadline. So will this trade go through? And it does. So that is perfect for us. Let's go fix the lines and figure out what our team looks like after this. Our next trade, we're going to be getting one of my personal favorite players in Mark Stone from the Carolina Hurricanes, along with Matthew Joseph, who's like a 4th liner, AHL guy for them, for 2 of our right wings that don't really want anymore, along with a prospect. I don't want to give up any draft picks if I don't have to. So will this one go through? So we end up getting a 2nd round pick back along with Stone for Anderson, Stewart, and a first. So let's go put him in the lineup and continue on getting some assets. We're continuing on adding to our assets as we get closer to the trade deadline. And we're helping out with the 4th line and with depth defensemen. Not like we really need it, but we're going to try to get it in the form of Michael McLeod and Xavier Ouellet here. So will this one go through? It looks really, okay, I was going to say it looks really close just by eyeballing it. So again, let's go finish up the lines and then probably do 1 more small trade, and then I think it'll be time for a run to the Stanley Cup. So after we're all done making trades at the trade deadline, this is going to be our team that's going to push towards the Stanley Cup playoffs. So Top 6 remains the same. We end up moving Norris up to that third line. We keep McIntyre there. Then we add a fourth line of Bennett, McLeod, and Stone. I definitely love to bring back Stone and McLeod. Both those guys actually fit our fourth line really well. So hopefully those guys will return next year. But if not, obviously I understand they're probably going to want a little bit more money than what I want to give them. So that's going to remain the same there. On the back end, we actually brought up Lehkonen. I think that's how you pronounce it, for Vero. He just wasn't really doing too well, so we're going to try Lehkonen in here and see how he performs. Letang stays there, and also we went over, and I didn't show it in the video because I actually had the video paused, unfortunately, or the recording paused, but we ended up picking up a backup goaltender in Adin Hill. Not really sure, but his stats actually look really good. He had one of the best goals against averages and the best save percentage almost in the entire league as a backup goaltender. So we end up picking him up. We traded away a second-round pick from this year for a third and a fifth, I believe. So we get him in this deal. Dostal goes to the bench for now, or to the scratch list, I should say. But let's get it going, though. We've done enough trading and everything else to start out this video. Let's get into the rest of the year and see where the rest of this year ends up taking us. So here we go. The road to the Stanley Cup Finals begins now. Let's hope this new team can deliver what we want. So we did sit in a really good position. I think we were in third or fourth. It looks like we're going to be battling back and forth between us and the Canadians for that spot. And it also looks like we're going to be battling for a wild card spot as well. So if we don't get third in our division, we'll still have the wild card spot to not to look forward to, but to not fall back on either, because obviously we could end up losing out. But if we stay in that third place spot, we'll be in a good deal later on. So 80 plus points is where it begins. Actually, let's take this slower. All right, I'm going way too quick here. So we sit. Where do we sit? Let's go day by day here, because we only got a couple games left, just to make sure that we're in. So we're at 91 points to begin with, which is already a massive improvement from where we've been. Wild card is 86 and 87. So that's a really good sign, right? Even if we don't finish in third, I think actually if we win this game, I think we clinch third, just due to points-wise, and we don't. So 93 points, though, so far, and both wildcard spots are in the Metro right now, but it's going to be a battle back and forth. So we actually face off against Pittsburgh here. Didn't want to click Edit Lines game. See what the result against Pittsburgh is. That 11-1. Oh my goodness. Let's get up to this Devils game here, and we're in 95 points, and we have officially clinched a playoff spot, and it was a good one, that's for sure. And this is definitely an improvement, right? If we can continue on these wins in these types of games, we'll be in a good spot from here on out. Larkin with a major rebound year, right? 94 points for Larkin. But before we get into the players, though, let's check out where we are. So 99 points overall. Obviously, Buffalo and Ottawa took off this year. 131 points. I think that's close to breaking records there with that score line. But 131 points, that's impressive from them. But the only number we care about is 99. That gets us into the playoffs this year and gets us into the Stanley Cup playoffs. I know I just said that, but I'm excited either way. But let's go check out the stats, right? Everything was a huge improvement. From where we started, it was, what, 19, 20, and like 2 or something like that, to look at us now. We ended up, what was our final record here? It was 48, 31, and 3. So good improvement. Let's go check out how the boys did. So as we're taking a look through our forwards, Larkin with a massive year, 94 points. You know, we were thinking about trading him, right? I was, looking for trades for Larkin, right? That's, got honest truth here. I was looking for trades for him. So I'm really glad to see he bounced back huge this year. Barron with another massive year. Krebs with his first year on that first line with the other two there. Wright with a massive year in his own right. Pun intended. I think I say that every single time, by the way. Raymond on that second line. Zadina and Arsene. Ooh, that could be a battle because Zadina's contract's up this year. So that's going to have to be something we're going to watch for. Well, definitely have to look at, some extensions here. But Arsene might be taking over that spot, depending on what we do with Zadina here. So that'll be a battle probably going into next year. But we'll look down here. Stone, how did he do for us this year down on that fourth line? So 6 points, not too bad. 2 game-winning goals, though. Kind of interesting. But definitely looking to re-sign him if he wants to stay. McLeod, what did you do? 7 points. That's pretty good. I know I didn't have him on the penalty or the power play, like he was in Florida, but hopefully we can re-sign him as well. McIntyre, I don't remember how many games you actually played for us. 41, so we got him halfway through the year. 27 points. That's not bad, right? 13 points on the power play. It wasn't really doing too much in Ottawa, but either way. Norris, he bounced back between the third and fourth lines a ton, so his performance I'm pretty happy with. Definitely we'll see about re-signing him if we can get him for like 2 years, $2.5 million-ish. Bet on that fourth line, nothing really too crazy. To the back end, though, Hannafin and Ekblad led the way once again with their play. Letang, after we got him, he kind of turned up a little bit here. What is it? 15 points. That's pretty solid. A really solid year overall for him. Man coming into his own play here as one of our original draft picks of the series. Wallander with a little bit of a disappointing year. I was kind of hoping for him to take the next step and improve his game. But who knows where we're gonna go with him. But not really expecting too much as Hannafin and Ekblad are kind of putting up all those points. Lettinen, 2 points plus 9, or not plus 9, plus 4. Not really too crazy there, but still not horrible either. And then Reza, right? Huge second half of the year. Doe's still a little underperforming, for my liking, but Hill came in, and I don't think, did he even lose a game there? Yeah, 3-1, but still his save percentage and goals against weren't the greatest when he was with us. So interesting to see there. Doe still, like I said, not really great save percentages or goals against for any of our goaltenders. But either way, that's a good showing though. But let's go over, check out the team stats and where we fared up against the rest of the league. So here we are on the team stats, and it's really nice to see our team in the top 10 in the entire league for a lot of different reasons here. So starting off strong here with goals for, we're in the top, I think this is top 10, I'm not exactly sure, but 320 goals for, goals against 286. That looks to be, probably in the bottom 10, bottom 15-ish area here. But let's keep going over here to power play percentage. 24.1% on the power play. Not great, but not obviously horrible either. Penalty kill percentage didn't really go up at all, 77%. But a lot of the teams in this league are not really doing too well. 11 shorthanded goals for? Holy cow. But let's go see here. Where is our team here? Here we are. So records here. Home. Usually it's the away records, but this year was the home games. 27, 11, and 3. Like I said, at home. 21, 20 away. And our last 10 is 9 and 1. So huge performance from the boys up here in the NHL. Larkin with a massive year. And a lot of guys I'm really looking forward to seeing. Let's see. This is the last thing we're doing in today's episode. Who are we playing in next video, and who are we playing in the first round of the Stanley Cup Finals? It's gonna be Ottawa. So the one team we made a trade with later on, we did make a trade. I guess that was really early on though. But let's go take a look at what Ottawa brings to the table. So here they are, and oh boy. So we got some names to look out for. Of course, we got Agostino here on the first line. Of course, one of the tops. Stutzel's still there. Shearer, I'm guessing he probably decreased in overall, because usually you probably wouldn't have an 82 on your first line. But on the second line, you got Fabry and Logan Brown. What's really interesting is he's a center slash left wing, and he's a center, yet he's on the left wing, which just doesn't make sense. Then a couple of younger guys on that second line. So they actually have a really balanced team. And then Sakura down here as well. So there's Tuck on the fourth line. How did he do ever since he was over there? So he goes over there, goes in the fourth line, and 16 points. So, you know, take that what you will over there. But, you know, we just couldn't provide him the playing time he was looking for. What about on the back end? Oh, boy. Now, you'd never have these two together on the same line. So you have two basically offensive defensemen on the same line. So Shabbat and Brandstrom, but they only have one line, though, basically. I mean, you have a decent cast, I guess, 82 overall for Schultz. You got Tyson Barrie on that third line, but not really too crazy on the defensive end. If we could shut down their top pair, we should be all right. I mean, how good do these guys do during the regular season? 77 points. I mean, obviously, that's really solid. And 68 points for Brandstrom. I'm really surprised they listed him as a right-handed or a right defenseman. What about goaltenders? This is what I will never understand about NHL games ever, right? 82 overall for Ottawa as one of the best teams in the league. He comes off from 5 years where he doesn't even go positive as far as his wins and losses, and then somehow puts up his best year ever. I just don't understand how that makes sense. But then their backup, 72 overall. Doesn't really make sense to me. They didn't even put Kaut in the lineup, which is really interesting. As an 83 overall, he didn't even get into their lineup. Then Benson there as well as Sam. This is actually one of the guys we tried to acquire when we were looking at trades. But man, we got a pretty good test. They have a few really good high-end talents, but I think we're just better all around rather than just, you know, having a couple of superstars. So that's going to be my goal going forward. They also have a really balanced lineup too, which is really weird as far as forwards go. Then defensemen, they really only have their top line. This is going to be interesting though. Going forward, we're going to be face off against the Ottawa Senators in the first round. It's going to be a good one, right? We're back in the playoffs. We actually had a really good year. Lots of improvements from all around our roster. And I'm super excited for the next round. Get ready for the playoffs in next episode. So I hope you guys did enjoy. If you did, make sure to go down below, hit that like button, and always remember the vast majority of you guys are not even subscribed. So make sure to go down below, hit that subscribe button, turn on those post notifications so you never miss an upload, and don't forget, you can always change your mind later. Well, with all that being said, guys, we'll see you in the next one.